I met Josh through Aaron, actually, because those two had been friends since, what, high school? Younger?
I mean,
middle school, I think. I think we originally met through church.
well, I say, yeah, we knew each other at church. I mean, since kindergarten.
Yes,
for
yes,
sure.
yes.
Well, you went to school with me in kindergarten,
Mm-hmm.
then left. Like, I don't know, man. You just left.
I left. I just
Dumb.
You packed your bags and went
I
on the
just-
journey.
Yeah.
Thought you were Bilbo Baggins.
Thought he was about the height.
Yeah, he is about the height, and that's our own Josh Brewer there over to my left, and across from me is Aaron Johnson, who unfortunately had to scramble to get a new mic for today.
I hate it so much. Nah, I don't really hate it. It's mine, but
Yeah.
still.
Well, I got to send mine to Australia now to get fixed.
Thanks.
So, that might be like a year before I see it again.
For real, that's that.
Especially if the government shuts down again and won't be able to get back into the country.
Cry.
That's neither here nor there right now. Welcome to the Use Your Words podcast. This is episode 2, where we're kind of out of beta, but still in beta and still learning things. And Josh is over to my left looking all confused. I don't know why, and that's okay. And he's now yelling at the computer screen.
So wouldn't this be episode 1 since the first one was episode 0?
It's technically episode, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's an episode. How about that?
Yeah. Another one.
But on iTunes, it will be episode 2 because they don't start at 0. They start at 1. I tried.
Apple, man.
I tried. I really did. But before we get started into our conversation today, which might be interesting, might be, we have a little surprise for you, Aaron.
Yeah. I've been well aware of this, and I'm not looking forward to it.
So here's how this is going to go. I'm going to play a jingle for you.
A jingle?
A jingle.
What?
And
What do
once you hear the jingle, you'll know what's happening, and you'll realize how you did it to yourself.
Okay.
Ready?
No.
Here's Aaron's word of the week.
Oh my gosh. What was that?
That
Wow.
was your surprise.
So what's my word of the week then?
Josh?
Your word.
Okay.
Is-
Wait. Before you go fully, he's going to give you the word.
Okay.
You have to tell us the definition
Should we have him,
without looking it up.
wait. Should we have him tell us like now, or does he have till the end of the show?
No.
No. Okay. Hands off the keyboard.
Son of a gun.
Your word is a fret.
A freet.
A freet. I'm sorry.
Oh,
a
I
freet.
would say that's on the guitar neck, dude.
That's a fret.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know what a fret is.
So
Yep.
no, it's a freet.
Nope.
AFREET. I will give you this. It is from Arabian and Muslim mythology.
Wow. Okay.
It doesn't have to be right. I just want you to come up with the definition first, and then we'll give you the real one.
It has to do with what we're talking about today.
It has to do with what a freet has to do with what we're talking today.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I still want to define the first word that you said and go with that.
Okay,
'Cause
so
I
what's
don't
a
like
fret?
this game anymore. What?
What's a fret?
It's that one thing that's like on your guitar that you like,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So we now know what a fret is.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
a freet?
Man, I was gonna say free feet until you said it has to do with today's topic. But a freet, I don't know. I
Okay.
guess it would be I don't know, wrongdoing to some point or doing something wrong. I don't know.
That might happen because of what an efreet is.
So it's an action.
Remember, an efreet, I said it's from the Muslim
Yeah.
and Arabian mythology.
Mythology, yeah.
So normally mythology has to deal with like gods and demons and all that. So an efreet is a powerful jinn or demon.
Whoa.
Now, what's a gin?
By the way, I had to explain all this to him as well while you're
Yeah.
gone. So
I'm not the only one.
don't feel like you're like walking into a trap here. I had to explain all this to him. He didn't know what a jinn was either.
I was gonna say it makes me think of a liquid that you can drink, but
No, not Jinn.
Yeah, I know a Jinn. Yeah.
Here's the
But
hint.
that's what it
Here's a
sounded
hint.
like.
Okay, so what he was just doing is he was rubbing a lamp.
Oh, like a genie.
There you go.
Ooh, so wait, that's what a freed is? No.
No.
Well, that's
it's
what
one of the
Jinn.
One of the
yeah.
things.
So it's a
Jinn,
powerful Jinn or
yeah.
demon.
Demon. Dude, sick.
So there you go. You did this to yourself because last week you're like, we could do a word of the week with me. And you know what? I contacted our buddy and had him put together a little jingle for that.
Yeah, mistakes were made. So wait, how do you spell that though? It's F-R-E-E.
Afreet.
Oh, Afreet.
Yeah, Afreet.
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 You see, the reason why I said a fret is because as I was looking at the pronunciation, it's, an upside down E with F-R-E-T. So my brain automatically went to fret.
All right. So, Aaron, there you go. Your vocabulary has been expanded. Mine, too. I didn't know what an Afreet was. I knew what a Jinn was.
Okay.
I knew what that was, but I didn't know what an Afreet was.
So where did y'all find Afreet?
I don't know.
I have a website that has 350 plus unique and crazy words.
Go figure.
I have 350 of these now.
So that's realistically at least 350 episodes that we have to produce.
But I'm not doing it every week, I said.
Yeah. So it could be double that.
Oh, I know.
episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we should do every single word.
And by the end of that, guess what? I'll have built up a database that pulls from the dictionary and does this all for me then automatically. So every week it could just pull up a random word. We could have like a spin the wheel of words to learn for Aaron.
That'd be fun.
I'll make it happen. I
Nope,
can write a
nope.
computer program for that.
Nope. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't want it. I don't want to learn. Just kidding. I do want to learn.
Oh,
Learning is good.
every single time he opens his phone, he has to learn a new word.
No.
No?
I would run out of vocabulary words in 10 minutes.
What?
I'm kidding.
During
I'm kidding.
Open my phone during the podcast or just in general?
In general, would be
Okay,
hilarious.
then I'm screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, I would run out in 10 minutes.
Not fair.
So, all right. Let's transition off of Aaron's word of the week because I think we spent way more time than I was planning on that for there.
Good.
I left this topic purposely vague for both Aaron and Josh because I wanted to maybe poke their brains a little bit and see where they thought and where these things went. And with Aaron shaking his head like that, I know that he's already broken for the day.
Absolutely.
So this will be entertaining. So, darkness. Who wants to kick it off and who wants to go? Because otherwise, I will just start asking questions. If I start asking questions, both of your heads may explode.
Josh, start talking.
All right, so I think we should clarify what darkness means to begin with. So darkness is either the partial or total absence of light.
Wow, good job.
I
It
like that
also
part.
is wickedness or evil.
Okay. That leads me to a whole other series of questions,
Oh boy.
which are relevant for today. So they will not be a conversation for another time. So you can't use that as an excuse today.
Sorry, buddy.
Hey, man, you brought it into it.
I know. But
So my question then is, and you could either approach this now or we can approach this later. Where does the definition of evil come from? Because obviously I can define it from a Christian point of view. But if you take religion out of it, because let's face it, in the world today, there are various people, various faiths, but there's also people who are on the train of saying, either they've turned their back on religion for one reason or the other, or, they were raised up not to believe in religion. So where's that definition of evil then come from?
Josh, you started.
I already spoke, buddy. It's your turn.
No, I'm saying you started the conversation, so you're continuing it.
So let me ask this then. Are there any things that are considered universally evil, regardless of religious background or not?
Well, big one is the killing or maiming of any sort of living being.
Okay. Any others?
So, like other things that are viewed as evil,
Yeah, universally.
rape,
Yeah.
sexual abuse, stuff like that.
So, well,
robbery.
I would say the forcing of anything on someone.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
So I could say that a car salesman is evil because they're trying to force a car upon me to buy.
I think in that case, you have the ability to say no and walk away. So
Yeah.
that I don't know if that counts as evil.
I know what
Just
you're trying to do
using
there, but
I'm just being extreme here. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with some of that. Murder, rape, stuff like that, where there's death involved, especially on another party where they might not have given consent.
Yeah.
That's evil.
Yes.
But I think what we do a lot of in this day and age, and maybe I'm going down a different path than you guys were thinking of, is we equate darkness with evil, where darkness may not necessarily be evil. And I think with that, Josh wants to say something.
Yeah, he's pointing at something.
I would say it's just never thought of it this way before, but I'm being, where does evil come from? Yeah, it says in short, evil comes from the observer, the one who chooses the emotion and chooses to use the term to describe the thing they fear.
Okay, the thing they fear. So in a way, it's a subjective thing, not an objective thing.
Yeah.
So then is darkness subjective or objective? Because then that leads into other questions then, such as, can good things come out of bad things, or can bad things come out of good things? Or do we do things that are bad but think they're good?
Beauty and tragedy, my friend.
Beauty and tragedy.
August Burns Red song.
Yeah,
Great.
I figured. Not sponsored by August Burns Red.
No.
Because one thing that comes to mind immediately when I think of that is, back in the day, something like the Crusades.
Yeah.
Where the church said this was for the best, but yet through the church coming from it, it turned out to be something completely dark and evil, destructive. This was a destructive force. It was something that killed people just because they believed something different and were converting. You could even come back as far as, recent times when people are, trying to force people to convert to their religion, regardless of what religion it is. I'm not signaling out one particular one, because this happens all over the world, multiple religions. That I see as darkness masquerading as light.
That's true.
So as I kind of wrote down, based on all that, the question then becomes, again, from a Christian worldview, because that's where I come from, but obviously I want to kind of keep in mind the other things. For me personally, I would have to define darkness as things that are the antithesis of God, things that are opposite of what God wants for us and what God wants. So if I define darkness as that way, and Josh, we can define darkness that way too, as the religious context. I'm just saying there are other ways to define it as well outside of just the religious context, because
yes.
you have people from all walks of life who are going to relate to it, because they're going to have darkness in their own life in other ways. They're going to see darkness through murder. They're going to see darkness through rape, as Aaron was saying, through sexual abuse, through multitude of other things, people taking advantage of others. Some see darkness as, our border thing, where Trump wants to build a wall. Some see that as darkness.
I say some people also see darkness as a limiter of free will and what they think free will should be, and being able to do the various things that they want to do. And you're saying, hey, you can't do that because the law says it, or because this book says it. People will see that as darkness as well.
So, yeah, anything that limits their personal freedom from what they want to do for either fun, enjoyment, or just because they want to.
Yeah.
Which then, gives me a whole other question then. And Aaron's shaking his head because he knows what's coming up.
Do I?
Yes, you do, because you commented on this last night.
Uh-oh.
Are those things that are, I guess, what I would consider darkness, what you consider darkness, what a person considers darkness? Okay. Are those things then allowable in the things that I consume?
Bum, bum, bum.
Even, I guess you would say jokingly, would they be allowed?
Yeah. I guess, oh, man. I kind of talked to my parents a little bit about this whole thing of diving into the darkness thing. It was like, is that okay to do. I mean, this is obviously coming from the Christian or more religious side of it. And they were both like, well, no, you shouldn't dive into the darkness. And when I thought about that, I guess just personally, like watching, I don't know. I mean, yeah, consuming, I guess you can consume games.
Yeah.
And just any other form of movies and stuff like that. I feel kind of weird when I think about that, because I think about all the movies you've seen that have to deal with all this darkness and stuff like that, and then you just get so used to it where it's like, does this even mean anything like on a personal level anymore? So I mean, yeah, when you talk about jokingly, I don't know.
Well, I think of even music, and I could think of a song
that's
right off the top of my head that you and a couple others that I know listen to and sing along to.
Sing along to? I don't believe it. I'm kidding. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Which song?
I'm going to assume Wait and Bleed.
Is that? No,
it's.
I don't think it's that one. No, it's not
which
that
one.
one.
Are you thinking of then?
Where you guys sing along to the lyrics, "Party with the Devil."
Oh, wow! Why do we have to bring that one into here? I was thinking of a different song too.
Nope, that's the first one that came to mind.
That's fair. The first one I was thinking about. Gonna love the title of "Reign of Darkness."
Reign of Darkness.
Yeah. Great song, but I don't really know the lyrics to it. So I just know the title.
So, that song came to my head directly because I was like,
yeah.
And the lyric is literally "Party with the Devil 666." I mean,
yeah.
Why?
Yeah, for real.
You know, and I'll be honest, that song annoys the heck out of me. Especially when the three of you are in the car singing it together.
Oh! Yeah, no, you're right, though.
But I mean, that's a perfect example of
it is.
Should we even allow something like that even jokingly?
Yeah. That has crossed my mind.
Because that does influence how we think, even if you don't realize it.
Right. Yeah, it does it slowly over time.
Because you see a lot of people, and I get it, it's maybe a little overdone in culture a little bit, where, someone maybe has survived something tragic, and they even they don't even want a movie made that has that same tragedy in it, because then they get over emotional. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, someone who survives something tragic isn't going to go and watch that out as entertainment necessarily, because they don't want that darkness in them. They don't want to relive it and go back to that. And I see that almost as Christians. Why would we want to go back to that darkness that we know isn't and shouldn't be a part of us anymore?
Right, that we are being saved from.
Yeah, and that's from the religious side. But again, like I said, back from the non-religious side,
yes.
Why would someone even want to even trigger that memory back of that darkness, that dark time in their life?
Right. Like thinking of, I don't know, I guess I think of my past quite a bit. And I think about a lot of terrifying moments for me, I guess, dark times. And sometimes I let it, I guess, take over kind of and get myself stuck there where I'm not going to make any progress moving on. Or I do think of it as a way of to see where I've come from and how I've gotten better with things.
Mm-hmm. But
I guess that could be different from what you're asking. I don't know.
It's an answer. I'll take it.
Sick.
Joshy boy, you're sitting over there kind of quiet. Do you have anything to add at this point? Because right now it's just me and Johnson.
Studied.
I'm just listening to Aaron talk. I'm just, sitting back and listening.
My voice is soothing to you, I know.
It is.
Oh, wow.
All right. I understand. I do remember something, since you were always the music guy and you always were the one, you liked Screamo. And Screamo, or heavy metal, rock, or all the different names for it, or that style of music.
Wow.
A lot of it isn't necessarily, pleasant. The words aren't pleasant. The messages aren't pleasant. But you do have the few ones like August Burns Red. They're a Christian band, so I definitely give them props for being in that industry and putting out the messages that they do. But I do remember some of the bands you would listen to. At least to me, you seem to have a little bit more of a mood that went with the music, and the music wasn't really pleasant. It was, as we're talking about dark music, it was, speaking of wickedness or death, as he sits there and rolls his eyes to the back of his head.
Wow.
Well, I even think about last night. We were on our way to Guitar Center, and a song was playing in the car.
What
and
song?
I don't remember the name of the song, but I remember this part about the song.
Oh no.
Where you go, this song makes me want to hurt people.
Oh. Well, yeah, that's a very harsh. It is a very, very harsh song. It makes me upset.
I get it. Music is meant to invoke an emotion.
Yes. But
why would something that makes you want to hurt people be something that would be considered good? In any context. I'm talking non-religious or whatever, because I don't even remember what the band was that did that song. I don't care.
No.
I'm just talking in general. If there's a song that's like, this makes me want to hurt people.
Okay, I should have been more specific, as I was in the car afterwards.
Nope, it wasn't until later.
No, I was still in the car.
But even still, that phrasing.
No,
regardless of the justification that you're trying to give it.
Yeah.
This song makes me want to hurt people. That it would be considered something called darkness. That would be something universally considered evil.
Yes.
Because darkness and evil, again, as we kind of said earlier, universally, not just religious, something that is harmful to another person where it causes, hurt, death, something like that, especially without their consent.
Yeah, can you hurt anybody with consent?
If you go into like a boxing ring or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't kill with consent. That's still illegal, but
yes.
But you didn't say kill, you said hurt.
Yes, just a nice smackaroony.
So, when Josh brings up, songs that are like that, that immediately comes up to mind as well, at how as soon as the first few chords of that played, you immediately went, this song makes me want to hurt people. It evoked that emotional response right away from you.
Yes.
It didn't even get to the lyrics. It's just because you know the song.
Yeah.
And because you know that song and it's tied to that emotion, immediately you were like, this just makes me want to do this. Hurt someone.
Yes.
Again, regardless of the justification of that.
Yeah. Specifically the guy in the story.
Yeah, I get it. I get it when you told me the story, but still, is that right then?
I don't know. Is it? I'm asking you now. I don't know. What do you think?
I think, personally, justice goes through the way it should go through. You have all those writers all the time. They're like, oh, kill this person, whatever. We have laws and systems of justice in place in the U.S.
In the U.S., yeah.
And other countries have their own.
True.
Go through those ways.
Processes.
Yeah, go through those processes. And, regardless of which, even if you want to say, well, I'm religious, whatever.
Yeah.
From the Christian point of view, it's you follow the laws of the land.
Yeah.
Because God put the government in power.
Yes.
Other religions, depends. To be honest, depends on the religion. Some say yes, follow the laws and that. Some want to do more within their own religious circle and do the laws there. For the most part, though, it's follow the laws. And the law says, this is how we're going to proceed, at least in the U.S. Take trial on that. Not, I want to hurt them.
Well, in the moment, I would call it pretty just to, I guess, hurt the person or worse from what they were doing in the song, because that would be more of a self-defense thing than anything.
Yeah, I get that. So, like in the moment, if it's where you got to choose between protecting someone or or letting the person who's doing whatever harm you. Yeah, protect. I am all for that. But when it's a song that comes up and you say, I want to hurt someone, that's the first song that jumps to mind when I think about this and what we're talking about with the darkness.
Just to clarify, I don't really want to hurt anybody. It's just that one dude in the song.
All right, I'm gonna ask a question. This is change it a little.
Do it.
Is the human perspective of darkness the same as God's perspective of darkness?
Is the what the same?
Human perspective of darkness the same as God's perspective of darkness?
Probably not.
So, is the human perspective of darkness the same as God's perspective? No. And the reason I say that is because we come from a very flawed way of looking at things. We are, again, coming from the religious point of view, from, the Christian point of view, the person who believes in God. We are flawed and fallen. We see things subjectively. We cannot see things objectively. Every experience we have colors our worldview on how we see things. If I'm a survivor of something, I'm going to be way more sympathetic to someone who's going through that same thing. Whereas God is saying, look, here's the rule. Here's the law. Here's what's right and wrong. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but that's right and wrong. Is there some gray area? Maybe. I don't know that one, and I won't know that until I get to heaven. So I'll allow for that. But as a human, I'm going to be very sympathetic towards someone who's maybe going through, depression or suicidal thoughts, because I've gone through that myself. I'm going to be very sympathetic for someone who maybe wants to enter into IT, because I've gone through that process. I'm going to be very sympathetic for, a dog owner. I may not be sympathetic to a cat owner because I'm not a cat person. Again, all these things are, very subjective as opposed to the objective, where there are set standards of right and wrong. That's my view on it.
No, I agree. And one of the things I noticed in Isaiah 45:7, it says, I form the light and create darkness. I make well-being and create calamity. I am the Lord who does all these things. And in the Bible, the flood. Who caused the flood?
Oh, you're looking for us?
Yeah, I'm looking for you guys to interject here.
Gotcha. I was like, what? I thought you were going to continue on. God causes the flood.
Okay.
He causes rain. First time they'd ever seen rain, according to most.
It shows that what our view of darkness is evil might be his way of creating peace and giving second chances and creating new life. So it's just something I just want to interject.
Right, and that leads to one of my questions that was earlier: can light come from darkness, or darkness come from light? In our perspective, yes. I think of my family member who, because of a toe that had to be amputated, they discovered some issues with their heart and were able to stem that issue off, instead of that just being a calamity-causing heart attack with no issue ahead of time, because there were no other risk factors involved. The only reason they caught it was because of the toe.
That's interesting.
So out of something bad came something good and life-saving and life-giving.
There's a lot of those things.
Yeah. So again, that comes back to my question then, about that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I keep coming back to these things about, darkness and evil and these things. Regardless of, and like the thing with my family member, regardless of Christian view or not, because they caught the toe, because of the toe, they were able to catch the heart thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing about religion there. So, I keep trying to bring it back and forth to try to show that both sides, we have to acknowledge that there's darkness and evil in the world, and things that maybe we think are not so good.
So there's a guy I would talk to in the past, and we would kind of go at it about some things. And the one issue that he had is how the Bible indirectly impacts people's lives and their way of living. And I looked at him and I said, so if the Bible, the thing that, not just the Bible, but all religions, because the fundamentals of right and wrong are in all religions. And if a religion can't help distinguish right and wrongs and what's dark and what is good, then what is someone without, what if the world never had religion? How would we be able to clarify what is right and wrong and what is dark and what is light without that? And he kind of really didn't have an answer, but, he kept coming back with, you can't say that. And I'm like, well, then who are you to say that I can't say that? Anyways, I took it to a point where I said, in all reality, with the direction that society is moving, no matter at which rate of speed, what if somebody personally targeted your girlfriend and wanted to hurt her? How would you feel? What if that person just has this weird inner rage that they just like to take out on people? Okay? and your girlfriend was in his crosshairs. You wouldn't be okay with that. I mean, I wouldn't be. You're my friend. I wouldn't want someone hurting your girlfriend because I know that's going to affect you. And he was like, well, they can't do that. I was like, well, who are you to say that they can't if it's what they want to do? And if you're telling me that religion can't restrict what you want to do, then who are you to say that, so you can tell someone else what they can't do? So, yeah, I mean, and we just kind of ended the conversation at the same thing, kind of going over, you can't say this, I can say this, but you can't say this. But it was just, for me and for him, it was a little bit of an opening. It's like, oh, yeah, we both were, from our perspectives on different sides of the coin, we're kind of right in both our eyes. Right. So, but it was interesting to see how he reacted when I brought it to that point, because what's to say we're not going to go to that point? I mean, you look all throughout history, humanity has always pushed the line. We've pushed the line in good ways and in bad ways. You can just look at movies and how what was PG today was once PG-13, and what was once PG-13 was once rated R. So we're not only becoming desensitized to the basic things of life, we're also becoming desensitized to various extremes too.
Yeah. And we do, and that's unfortunate. Same thing, and that encompasses everything from violence to, whatever. And you look at a horror movie, from the 80s compared to now?
Oh my gosh.
Or maybe a horror movie from the 50s to now.
Yeah.
The 50s, it was a plant that walked around.
Or a giant spider.
Little shop of horrors.
Yeah, or a giant spider. And nowadays, they're doing a remake I just saw of Child's Play.
What?
Yeah, the
Chucky.
Chucky. They're doing a remake that's coming out in June.
Oh gosh.
Not even Halloween time, but it's coming out in June.
When did that originally air? That's not that old, is it?
In the 80s, I think.
Really?
I think.
Probably right. It sounds right.
But anyway, so compared to the original Child's Play, this is going to be way more gruesome and graphic because we have to push that edge, because that movie from 1988 originally would not fly today with modern audiences.
Yeah.
No.
And we're not even talking about CGI level. We're talking about the content of the movie.
Wow.
Because if you took the 1988 movie, remade it with modern CGI, people would be like, no, it's not scary enough. We have to make it scarier. We have to make it bloodier, gorier,
yeah,
swearier.
More disturbing.
Well, I was going to say also, a big thing that has changed over time is music and how to incorporate music and emotion into a movie too. So, yeah,
and that's kind of always been there, but there's a lot more study nowadays on how to elicit emotion with various sounds of music than it was, back in the day. But back in the day, they still tried to match up audio with the scene to try to elicit some emotion. We've just had more time to study it now, which makes it nice.
And I would say one thing because I remember when we used to go to your house, Aaron, and we would watch scary movies and stuff, and I would always be against it, but everybody else would be like, oh yeah, thumbs up.
That's
just because, for me at least, guys, those kind of images play over my head more than maybe some people. Mm-hmm. So it kind of not in a sense haunts me, but it does. But anyways, I would just sit there and you would have the victims run into this room, and you're thinking to yourself, why would you run into the dead end room? You know that it's the stupid choice, but then, and this is where I was saying music, but then the music builds and you feel your heart, so yeah.
So yeah.
That made no sense.
So what?
That made absolutely no sense.
Well, as we have all learned, Josh, sometimes you don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly, I don't.
So
sometimes
we will take that as a consideration that you don't know what you're talking about right now. You just tangent Josh. Tangent Josh went on a tangent.
Yes.
Makes sense in my head, and then
comes out in words and doesn't make sense at all. Okay, yeah, I figured as much. So, I have a question for you, Johnson. Unless you have a question that you want to ask first.
Nah, fire away.
So
I shouldn't have said that, but
yeah, I know, because this is continuing on. And the reason I'm picking on you is because I know we've talked about this before. So if we're talking about darkness, regardless of religious influence or not in religious influence, and
Yes.
how maybe it's not the best thing to interject into our lives in that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because we talked about music.
Yes.
Here's my question. Should you know about stuff from the side of the darkness, not engage with it, but know about it in order to be effective in A, knowing about it and being able to help others who are maybe going with it, or B, just to avoid it better?
Right. Man, this kind of goes back to what my sister. Wow. My sister is not my mom.
Soundbite.
I remember talking to my parents about was this guy used to, like, whenever he would give like sermons of, I guess, talking about like Satan or the devil and stuff like that, like afterwards, like he felt like he just had to, like, I guess, cleanse himself of doing that because he was focusing darkness and evil and stuff like that. I mean, I guess, do you have to understand any of the darkness?
And that's my question to you. Do
I
you?
know. Gosh.
In your
I mean,
personal opinion, in order for you to be effective,
to be effective.
in either helping others or helping yourself or avoiding it. And again, come at this from the Christian or non-Christian point of view,
Yeah.
however you want to do this.
Yeah.
Do you need to at least know about it? When I say know about it, I mean know about it from like a textbook style know about it. Like you know data and facts about it, but not
Right.
necessarily how to engage in it, I guess, is what you'd say.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I guess I would say it could definitely help. I mean, I guess, gosh, I think an example. I guess just like, well, alcohol and stuff like that. You could view that as an evil thing. Well, depending on what your consumption of it is. Because, I mean, you have people that have obviously been alcoholics, whatever, struggle with it. I guess if you could use that as a way to help someone get out of there if they're struggling with the same thing, I guess. So it wouldn't be a bad thing to have an understanding or have experienced living in darkness to help somebody out of it. I guess it would be a valuable thing compared to somebody that's just like always, I don't know how they'd always been out of the darkness to help someone
Right.
from the darkness.
And see,
But-
and I bring that question up because it's one of those weird things. It's you have to think about, like, how can I know about these things and help the people, but not necessarily engage in it?
Yeah.
And especially when you start talking more some of personal things, or
Yeah.
like you brought up alcoholism, or
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways this could go, especially like you bring Christianity in. There's a lot of areas that are considered
Oh,
darkness and sinful areas in the
Mhm.
Christian realm. And how do you necessarily maybe know about some of that stuff and not, bring those things in? And Josh was just pointing at his arm for some reason. So Josh, why were you pointing at your arm?
I was saying tattoos is something that some Christians would see as a demonic thing, regardless of what the picture or the image may represent.
Yeah.
But
Well, they definitely wouldn't like me then.
well, I got a funny story about my grandma. I'll tell you in a second. But going off of what you said, the question you asked in regards to, is it good for you to know? I guess, because I can kind of have a broad answer to it. Because, for example, you don't need to kill somebody to know it's wrong to kill somebody.
And I'm purposely making these things very broad for you guys to be able to talk and think and work through.
If you struggle, if you've been an alcoholic before, you can help someone. I'm not saying you have, but if you have been, you can. And when you've come out of that and you've conquered that issue in your life, you can help point to someone else. Or if you've struggled with other things that may be very addicting, and when you've conquered that, it's easy. Yes.
Mhm.
I don't think it makes sense for someone to subject themselves to something that they're not already addicted to. So it wouldn't make sense for me to try to become an alcoholic, just be able to tell somebody.
Continue on. But yeah, I think you might miss part of the question, but continue on.
Oh, then I don't want to answer if I missed it.
Because I didn't say engage in it. I said
Yeah.
book smart about it.
Yes, and where I was going is, it wouldn't make sense for you to subject yourself to something that you're going to become addicted to if you already know how to avoid it. You may as well use that the way that the knowledge you have to help someone else from going down that path.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was going with.
Okay.
So I agree with Aaron. Depends on what it is. It's, book smarts will do you fine, but if you have experience, it doesn't hurt to share that experience because you can help someone a lot sooner than later with that experience.
So then I do have another question that follows up with this, and then we can get to your grandma story.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You already forgot about it.
Is there ever a time where it makes sense, instead of book smarts about it, actually engaging in that darkness to learn about that darkness?
Go ahead, Josh.
I'm not saying there ever is. I'm asking, is there
there?
ever a time? Because obviously that comes with its own set of caveats and dangers then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is there ever a situation, is there anything that ever makes sense that it's like, I have to wade into that myself? I got my answer.
Why don't you answer?
All right. My answer on that is emphatically no. And the reason is, you do that, you will, by wading into that darkness yourself, you could easily get trapped in that yourself, no matter what it is, whether that's alcoholism, drugs. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't go and help those people. You can engage with people with not engaging in the behavior.
Exactly.
And you
True.
see a bunch of people, especially from the religious realms, who go and help drug addicts or alcoholics or whatever. They're not engaging in those activities, but they're engaging with the people.
Yeah. I'll say, the only, I guess, thought I could think of was the whole thing of, being standing on the chair. You're trying to help someone else out, but then if you're going in to be a part of that activity with them, they're just going to pull you down into it, kind of thing. So, but yeah, so I would say no as well. But I mean, I guess it would be hard to say no at times, I guess, depending who the person is that you would try and help out. And then there's always the thing, you can't knock it till you try it.
Oh, I've heard that so many times.
Yeah.
Can't knock it till you try it, but that is just such a cop-out.
It really is.
It's a cop-out from people who are like, hey, I'm doing this. I know it's probably not the best for me, but you can't say anything about it until you've actually tried it and done it. And I'm like, that is just a bunch of BS, because I can point to all these documents over here that say, hey, you know what? That's probably not good for you at this point in time.
Yeah, exactly.
So before we go any further here and before we forget, Josh,
What's your
grandma story?
Ooh, my grandma's story. So we're at my aunt's house, right? And she's just chilling in a wheelchair, and she just kind of looks up and goes, for some reason, she said Samuel, my cousin Samuel. I don't know why.
Okay.
She looks up at my aunt and goes, Samuel's going to hell, right? And she just kind of stutters and looks at her mom and goes, why?
Oh, wow.
Because he's got a tattoo. And she's like, that's Josh. Oh, grandma goes, him too.
Well, I guess I'm going 6 times over then.
right?
And then she kind of trails into a whole, it's, it says here, and but
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny because I had gotten to the house right after she had said that, so everybody was like,
Looking
"This is
at
what
you?
Grandma said."
Oh man, I didn't get on that level. Something from a family member of mine when I posted something about me getting a tattoo on my left shoulder. She sent me some like Bible verse or something like that, where it's like, you shouldn't ink yourself and whatnot, or don't mark your body of people of the about people of the dead or something like that. It's in Leviticus.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking about that, and I was like, well, the tattoo is of Christ, so I was like, is he dead or nah? So I don't know. That was an interesting thing, though. She was very against tattoos.
Oh, and my mother is definitely against it. So, every one that I've gotten has been a new lecture every time. It's been entertaining on so many levels.
I don't think my mom was 100% supportive, but after I got it, she was like, "Oh, okay." And I came home with it. My dad kind of looks at it and he goes, "Did it hurt?" Like he was intrigued when I walked in through the door.
Yeah,
But yeah.
Yeah, and whereas Aaron just sat there and laughed and giggled the entire time. That's his first tattoo.
it felt good, man. It was relaxing.
It was relaxing.
It was relaxing. It was nice.
How is
Except
it
for the-
relaxing?
I don't know. It was just
It's a needle going in and out. Like, who is it? How many? What's the?
I don't know.
How fast
It's
it
fast.
goes?
I don't know off the top of my head.
There's a
Sounds like a
ton
sewing
of-
machine.
I mean, basically, I guess.
He likes it.
Yeah, it's the back shoulder was not comfortable. That one hurt mainly just because I messed up there anyway. So I don't think anything's bad with tattoos. But then there's the other question
Yeah, which is
that had to do with what you mark yourself with.
you back in there, Joshy?
I am. So what was your question again?
So Aaron's question was what you mark yourself with tattoos. You know, he's coming from the assumption, and correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, that tattoos are fine. Correct? You're fine with them from a Christian perspective, from whatever perspective. But then the question is what you mark yourself with the tattoos as important as the concept of even having a tattoo, or are we completely separate questions and I'm missing the point?
No, the main thing was just like having, I guess, for me, the idea of, for one of the tattoos was on the upper part of my arm has the cross, and I was going to do more, like filling in more, stuff of like God and stuff like that. And on the forearm part of my arm, I was thinking of having the dark side on there, and then in the midst of so pretty much in the middle, my elbow
Yeah.
would be, I don't know, one thought was like having like my heart there, and then having like both sides are kind of, the dark side is fighting to take my heart down, but Christ is like saving me and pulling me away from it. That was my side. But then would marking yourself of like evil or dark looking things be bad or not?
Well, that's the question we're here to ask and answer.
Yeah, so what do you guys think?
Josh, I'll let you tackle this one first because I think Aaron's heard some of my answer on this before, I think. And if
Probably.
not, then you'll hear it again.
Looking
or for the
forward
first
to it.
time. So Josh, do you have anything to say first to that question?
What is the dark side? Is it a skull? Is it a face of Chucky?
I mean, what else is fighting for my heart, Josh? The devil.
So you would get an image of a demon on your body.
I don't know. Well, I might not have to do demon, but that would be maybe a good one. No, not a demon.
So what would it be then?
Gotta have Satan. But that.
So you would have an imprint of Satan on your body.
No, I would not.
So what would it be then?
I mean, I just before you say it, I understand your concept.
Yes.
It's showing in that
Yes.
there is a divide
Yes.
with your soul, but at the same time,
Yeah.
the darker side is farther down. Where if you look at your arm,
Yes.
usually you see an arm, you look down, you go up. Okay.
It depends on-
So
yeah.
if I'm getting what you're thinking, yeah, one way you might do it is since the bottom portion is darkness.
Yeah.
And the upper portion represents the light.
Yeah.
It shows that you were once dark, but you're rising to the light.
Okay, you could do that.
Okay, so that's how my mind's picturing it right
Okay.
now. But if you're unsure what that dark side image would be, I'm against having any image of satanic, anything like that, because it would technically be like a way of worship. You're kind of broadcasting that on your arm to
Okay.
people around. So if you don't have a conversation, people may be like, oh, he's got a picture of a demon on his forearm. So if you have, short sleeves that come down to your elbow,
Yeah.
people aren't going to see the light side.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, wasn't planned like that. So when you're talking about having drawn up to the light, that wasn't necessarily planned. I just got the cross up there before I did anything else and had any other planning in mind.
But I get where you're coming from. But
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
with you having nephews, do you want there being dark imagery? Because what represents the dark imagery is going to be something that's going to stand out. So maybe you have various things that represent the temptations and the sins in your past that you've shaken off. That it can be an easy
Yeah.
representation of dark. But if you're
Yeah.
looking at getting figures of anything related to demonic or satanic
So
thing
yeah,
like that, I would be against it.
the I guess the kind of the idea would be I mean there's the whole, imagery of chains and stuff like that. So I'd have like chains
Mhm.
pulling it down.
Kind of pulling at the skin.
Well, I guess at the heart or whatever
Okay.
is going to be
Word.
there.
You have chains pulling something down, being like a weight.
Yes. And then, I mean, so yeah, what I do, like, I probably would not do like demons and stuff like all that on there. So that's where I guess it would be kind of hard to have. I wouldn't know what to do, I guess, for imagery exactly.
And see something like that, like a chain.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of crosses into what Josh is saying.
Yeah.
Maybe some of those things that pull you down, but you're not necessarily broadcasting
It's-
anything demonic or anything.
Yeah.
And when you see Paul's tattoos, you look at them, you're not going to have an immediate explanation as to why he got them or what they are.
Yeah.
It's going to be something that you're going to hey, so what does that tattoo mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
each one of his tattoos.
What are you looking at?
I'm just looking at your arms.
Each one of his tattoos has a meaning that's to him.
Yes.
And if you're going to get a tattoo, I think that's something that should be more apparent is to what it means to you versus having certain
Absolutely.
images. That's where I'm against anything of demonic imagery.
For sure. For sure.
But
Dang, I was hoping you'd catch that.
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay.
I just decided to ignore it.
Wow, thanks. But no, yeah, I guess I'm trying to figure out where I stand on that myself almost. I mean,
And that's fine if you're not 100% sure where you stand at this point.
yeah,
That's kind of what these conversations are
right.
Maybe flesh out or say, you know what, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess whatever you put on your body,
yeah,
regardless if it's now or if it's 20 years down the road,
right.
if little JoJo comes up and grabs your hand, what do you want her to be looking at?
JoJo.
And I think that's a good question for anybody is,
Yeah.
do you want your little nephew or your child looking at your sleeve tattoo and going, that's scary, or, they've
Right.
seen it somewhere and they shouldn't have seen it somewhere,
Yeah,
So that's where, if it's chains and chains are representing the darkness and they're
Yeah.
the weight on the heart, but you show that the heart is fighting those chains,
yeah,
I mean, that'd be one heck of a cool tattoo.
right. I guess one of my, I guess a thought would be, instead of having, like, again, a demon, like you'll have the chain, but then you'll have like a hand pulling down on the chain. But then it's like, how do you, or what would be a good way to, I guess, have some like image of, I guess what I would want to do would be technically hell being pulled down into it, because that's the end goal of
Maybe you could do something of like,
fire. Just
no, maybe not.
Well, you could even use, like a lot of artists do with their artwork, color.
color, like just do red.
Well, no, like
Oh,
even just overall, even if you're doing like a black and gray sort of tattoo,
oh yeah,
you could have the forearm maybe darker, literally darker,
right. Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
The upper arm.
upper area lighter on the
So-
gray.
Light and sunshine and
Well, not sunshine. It doesn't have to be sunshine fairies and unicorns floating around. And
dude, I could rock some unicorns and stuff.
can we put a unicorn horn on your forehead
Dude, yes.
at the August Burns Red concert?
Sure.
No, I'm not talking the tattoo. I'm talking like an actual unicorn head
Oh.
horn that comes out of your forehead where it has a bandana.
Hey, that might make me memorable, so why not?
So if you're in Grand Rapids and you see a guy dancing around in a unicorn headband,
That's me.
that's Aaron, go up to him, say hi, take a picture with him,
Yeah.
send it to uywords@gmail.com, and we'll have to do something with that because
Do something special. Little shout out.
well, no, I might have to dig into my pockets and pull something out if someone actually does that because that would be epic. it good.
That would be hilarious. I'll get you dinner, whoever it is.
And then also, if you can convince him to shave his beard right then and there in Grand Rapids.
Okay, yeah, don't go that far.
Because then you could scare us off Babyface Johnson again. Which we still need to post those photos of you, Babyface, if you want, if you allow us to.
I guess, I don't really care that much.
Okay, so you've heard kind of Josh's point of view on those things. Do you want to
Yeah.
hear mine still?
Of course, I want to.
Oh, I do. I do. I definitely do.
Oh, are you prepared for it is the question.
Probably not. But am I ever really prepared for a lot of stuff you have to say?
All right. So I know you're never ready to hear my thoughts on some of these things, but on this one, I thought I shared this one with you, but apparently I haven't. So since I haven't, I must share. And by sharing, I must tell you something. So here's what I say on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it, the darkness, light thing. If it's done in like a respectful way, kind of how like Josh was talking chain and that maybe, I'd say, yeah, great. But if it goes a little bit even beyond that, I would say be very careful.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm saying that is this is an image that's going to be on you permanently, unless you decide to pay for expensive laser or cover up.
Yeah. And being that big of a tattoo, that would be,
that would hurt to laser it off or be a very expensive and painful cover up.
Knowing him, he might actually take pleasure in it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. Because of that, like I said, I would just caution against that sort of thing. Because remember, this is something that's going to be on your skin for the rest of your life. Having something that is, in a way, dark on you, make sure that you are able to handle it, I guess, mentally and spiritually first. Because you're going to see this every day. And you may not always see the upper half. Because the upper half is sometimes harder to see when you have tattoos, unless you're really trying to go, like, pulling up your sleeve and be like, ooh, look at that. Or you're trying to, like, flex in the mirror or something and be like, yeah, look at me. Yeah,
Macho
which
man.
I don't do. So,
Whatever. Don't believe it.
So that would be my only concern, because that is going to be an image that you're going to see daily and remind yourself of. And it is easy when you see something daily for that to become something that you focus on.
Yes, I agree completely too on that.
So as you notice, I didn't get a forearm tattoo till this year because, one, I wanted to make sure I was good with my job. I wanted to make sure I was secure in my field. But also at the same time, whatever is going to be below the elbow, which is going to be always visible, I wanted to make sure it was something that was really crazy important to me, and really this defines me and my career. Now, this doesn't define my life, because I could drop out of technology at any time and do something else. That might happen eventually. You never know. I'm open to the possibility, and I know that's happened to a lot of people. So right now, yes, this does define me, but it's always going to be a core part of me. So are you saying that darkness will always be a core part of you is then another question. And do you want it to be, and should it be?
I wouldn't say I would want it to be or it should be, but being a human, there's always going to be some sort of evil there, because
fair enough.
It's our part of our nature.
Yeah.
But and the other things that had come across my mind about having something, I guess if it was really dark imagery, would be obviously, playing guitar Sunday morning at church. That's what everybody's going to see on my arm. Be like, who is this guy playing guitar for a worship band?
Yeah. So
with all of that.
And it's
stuff.
not like, especially at our church, it's not like you're coming in as an outsider who then, changed their life. You're this little kid who grew up in the church and then, got all of a sudden dark demonic stuff on his forearm.
That might be a little alarming to some people, or quite a few people.
I can see a Sunday night prayer meeting in your honor at that point.
Yeah. We need to have a talk about this Aaron kid.
No. It's not just the talk. It'd be, all right, Aaron, stand in the circle. Everyone lay your hands on Aaron and pray for him.
Pray this tattoo out of him.
If that would happen, my mom would have done that a long time ago.
Oh, gosh. This is true. But no, yeah. The more I thought about it, I guess the less I would put something where it was an image of, I don't know, like something demonic, I guess. It would be more towards just like the whole chain and like weights of struggles pulling down kind of thing.
Yeah. And here's the thing about what I like about that, and this is just me spouting my opinion, so you don't have to take this as gospel and truth. Okay. But what I like about that is it's also a nice conversation starter.
Yes, that it is.
Which at that point, it's not just, oh, this crazy kid has some demonic images on his arm and then a heaven above his elbow. What happened here? Instead, it's okay. He has some chains, and
right.
Also, that that brings a whole other conversation then, in which is valid at this point as well. Then, because you have these things back in the Old Testament, again from a Christian biblical perspective, where you're not supposed to make any graven images of things in heaven. So, like idols.
Oh, duh.
Come on.
Hello.
So
Sorry.
that doesn't necessarily apply just to graven images. That applies to stuff you put on your body, tattoos as well.
Yes.
It's just because it says that doesn't mean the law doesn't apply. So, you have those things as well stacking against you, unfortunately.
I guess.
Don't look like a defeated little child over there.
That's how I always feel. Just kidding, not always. Just a majority of the time.
Just the majority of the time?
Yeah, majority of my life has been that way.
Anything else?
I kind of touched on that before.
What?
How does society see darkness, wickedness?
Yeah, I think we touched on it at the very beginning.
Are there levels of darkness, wickedness?
Are there levels?
Are there levels?
I mean, from a human standpoint, yeah. I remember we talked about this once before, where when you come from that Christian or standpoint, like all sin is viewed equal, except for the one.
Yeah.
Was it blasphemy or
blasphemy
no?
of the Holy Spirit? That's the only one that the Bible calls out specifically.
Yes.
But I mean,
but on an earthly, standpoint, darkness or like evil, whatever, is seen on different levels. Because then why would you have different, sentences for like being sent to jail or the death sentence and stuff like that?
Because you have a jaywalker and then you have Hitler.
Yeah, big difference.
You don't treat them the same.
Yes, exactly.
A jaywalker you might give a warning to or a ticket. Hitler, well, we fought that war already.
Yes.
Because of what he wanted to do in his wanting to create his perfect race.
Yeah, which would not be a perfect race.
Which, by the way, I'm looking across at Aaron, and he is blonde hair, blue-eyed.
I'm the definition of how it would not be a perfect race. So, I mean, yeah, I would definitely say there's levels of darkness and wickedness coming from, a world view.
How we see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and we have to quantify it some way. Because there's no way we could live without quantifying it in some manner.
Yeah.
Because we would go crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, the jaywalker, you get the same sentence as that mass murderer.
Yeah, right. That would be...
I mean, if you think we'd never have jaywalking ever.
Well, you would, but...
Well, we'd either have no jaywalking or a rash of mass murders.
Yes. And one way or another, we'd all be just dying out. So we'd be extinct.
I mean, we already are.
Are we dying out?
Yes, we are. You're dying. I'm dying.
Well, yeah, but then there's new babies being born.
Except...
I'm
sorry, I read this article, so I have to bring it up.
Oh, why not?
In the U.S., we are actually at a point now where the birth rate is not keeping up with the death rate.
Well,
wow.
That's only going to last for so long because we got all those baby boomers now that are reaching, baby boomers, the big,
I'm well aware, yes.
Yeah, right?
Right.
And so they're dying out. So it's going to sound sad. But once they're done dying out, we'll probably see that number come back.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, okay, it's not just that though. It's the actual birth rate
Mhm.
of women in childbearing age is gone down.
Yeah. So there's no replacing people.
But we also have a lot of older people.
Yeah, but they're saying, okay, I'm reading this article here. There were 3.8 million births in 2017. This was down 2% from 2016, and the lowest number in 30 years.
Wow.
That's from the CDC.
So we started a decline.
Yeah, we've started decline.
So it's not just, there's more deaths. There's less births.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the general
Millennials.
fertility rate sank to a record low of 60.2 births. I don't know how you have 0.2 of a child per 1,000 women between the ages of 15 and 44. This is a 3% drop from 2016.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's wow.
The rate has generally been below replacement since 1971.
Well, I mean, everybody just wants to go out and party.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sit down and settle down and start a life at, the age of 20 anymore.
That's pretty early.
Well, I should say early 20s.
Okay. So yeah, there are people like me that don't really want kids.
Yeah.
Well, as of right now, as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned.
Maybe there's more than one Aaron.
You're young enough still. But I
don't
mean,
know.
so the way they calculate this is they calculate it off of how many children they think 1,000 women will have over their entire lifetime, right? So at this point, they're saying 1,764 and a half births per 1,000 women. It used to be 2,100 births per 1,000 women.
Wow.
So it's just gone down and down and down.
Yeah.
It-
Wow.
It's like
That's a lot of babies.
well, yeah,
Guess I'll have to
but
tell my
that's over the
sister.
lifetime of adult female.
I'll have to tell my sister to have another one.
Change the statistics.
I don't think one person having more children is going to change it that much.
That's right. No, I like having
Although there is one family I can think of off the top of my head that is above the average. Not saying names.
not to point fingers, but no, but yeah, I like my 3 nephews and my 1 niece. That's good.
Yeah.
It's enough
Just wait.
chaos at
Just
my
wait.
house.
Another one's coming.
Well,
Don't say that.
No. This one that's going to come is going to be a Johnson baby.
They're what?
Not planned. A cigar smoking, heavy metal, screamo child.
Dude, that's already JoJo, man. She's liking the medals.
Oh, she's going to have a little sister.
so anyways, that news article reminded me of a movie. It's a little old at this point.
Okay.
It's from, I had to look up what year it was from. It's from 2006 called Children of Men.
I was about to say Children of the Corn, but
No, 2000 Children of the Corn's older.
that's why I was getting confused for a second.
Children of Men. It's about a world where all the women have gone infertile except for one.
Oh gosh.
Oh, no.
It's like a young girl too,
Oh.
and so she's like the last hope to repopulate.
That's really unfortunate.
It's actually a good movie. It's like
What?
it's like an action movie.
Interesting. Never heard of that.
It's 2006. So what, you were
I was
11?
pretty young.
you were 11?
2006.
Yeah, you were 11.
Yeah, I was
You wouldn't have been watching that.
No,
And by the way, Children of the Corn came out in 1984.
that's before I was born.
Yeah.
And my sister. Oh my
You don't
gosh.
say.
Shush, Josh.
Sorry.
Enforcer.
And this is where I am no longer on the podcast, guys.
This is where I need the enforcer to come in and do some cleaning up for me, because there might be a blood puddle soon.
Oh boy.
You know, darkness, it's rising.
Again, for the what, 3rd, 5th, 6th,
Aaron,
20th time?
Aaron, there's no number scale for how many times his darkness rises. As long as you and I remain friends with him, his darkness scale will remain broken.
Wow.
That little laugh.
Wow. Thanks, Josh. Thanks.
You make him seem like such a mean guy.
Oh no, guys, he is not mean by any means. He's a real, a caring guy. It's just, we bring so much stupidity to the table. He can't take it sometimes.
This is why I have you both here, because you're younger and you bring that interesting spark, let's say.
The dumb factor.
The dumb factor. Yeah, let's go with that too.
Sorry.
Oh, man. So anything else
What a great-
between you two that you want to just pull up or bring up or say before I hit the magic button?
The magic button.
No, all I'm going to say is I'm excited for next week's topic already.
What was next week's topic
Yeah,
again?
so what is next week's topic, Josh?
Obviously,
next-
you know it, so tell us.
Next week's topic, guys, is technology, the god of our current generation.
Oh.
That one will be easier to talk on because I can riff on technology for hours.
I cannot. I can only talk about how much it breaks on me. AKA my controller already after, I don't know how long, like a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know. That happens. So, and oh, while you're here, Johnson,
Yes.
you never got me the social media stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so send it to me so I can put it in the show notes afterwards.
But why? I mean, I could just say it right now.
Do you know what your Facebook username is?
It's Facebook username's Aaron Johnson.
There's multiple Aaron
No,
Johnsons.
there's only one good Aaron Johnson. Just kidding. That's a lie. It wouldn't be me if it was.
So send me that information. I'll
Yeah,
put
I
it in the
will.
thing. With that being said, you could email us at uywords@gmail.com. Website is uywords@gmail.com. We are now on iTunes, Apple Podcast. We are now in Google Play Podcast. We are now on Pocket Cast. We're working on getting in iHeartRadio, working on getting in Stitcher Radio, working on getting in TuneIn Radio. We are also on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and I don't think anything else at this point. And these guys here are giving me looks like, what the heck is happening?
So if you guys know somewhere where we're not, let us know. We want to be there.
We're also on Spotify.
We're also on Spotify too.
Boofy.
I had to pull up the listing. I was like, where are we at? Oh, and SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.
So like, there's like I said, if there's a place you didn't name, let us know. We want to be there. We want you guys to listen to us. We want to interact with you guys too. So
I totally thought when you said what, iHeartRadio?
Yeah.
I was totally thinking of Heart Support, which is this thing that Jake is a part of from August Burns Red. That's why I got so excited.
You got so excited? I was wondering why you went so excited
It's like,
so fast.
"Wow."
So, yeah, you can check us out at any of those places. Our Facebook page, obviously, as well, and our website, uywords.com.
Yeah, and then you can bother me when I actually give Paul my social media stuff.
And if he actually does give me the social media stuff, make sure to bug him and tell him something encouraging. Say something about his blue eyes.
well, I would say, if you think about it,
Yeah.
I'm done.
If you think about it, Aaron, guess what?
It's the end of this podcast. That's what.
Aaron,
What?
if you think about it, we're done.